Welcome, friends. I am Dr. V.K. Chauhan. Revise with me Beraita carbonica, a very important homeopathic remedy, and this overview is especially for homeopathic interns. First, we'll have a overview of the remedy, and then we'll go for its current clinical applications from the modern diagnostic perspective. So, we remember that this remedy has been a deep acting, well proven remedy. And this is very specially adapted to complaints of first and second childhood. The source of this medicine, it is a white, colorless, odorless, tasteless powder, almost insoluble in water, and the kingdom belongs to mineral kingdom. Preparation. Trituration of the salt is prepared in sugar of milk up to third centesimal potency, and thereafter higher alcoholic preparations are made from third C, as this state is soluble in alcohol. Very important aspect of this drug is this was proved by Dr. Hahnemann himself. The constitution. The somatic component includes dwarfish, children's, old cachectic people, fat scrofulous subjects, scrofula especially in the fat subject. The psychic component includes the temperament, which is shy and bashful children's, childish old people, hysterical old maids with scanty menses, will, emotion, and intellectual and memory component of this remedy is the memory deficit is there, forgetfulness and inattentiveness is marked. The organ tissue affinity of this drug belongs to mind, nerves, glands, throat, tonsils, prostate, heart, nutrition, blood vessels and lungs. Thermal affinity of this drug is, it is very chilly patient, and lateral affinity is the complaint travel from right to left side. The disease predisposition or diathesis for this drug is degenerative disorders. Scrofulous, it is lymphatic affections and delayed milestones. The precipitating causes or predisposing causes include especially the age is vulnerable, where we'll find children and old people where there is a low resistant state. Old drunkards, especially the complaints because of alcohol, throat affections after checked foot sweat, apoplectic tendencies, especially in old age people. Let us go to the miasmatic component of this drug. So we will have certain markers, and those markers will guide us. Scrofula points to tubercular trait or pseudosora. Dwarfishness points to syphilitic miasmatic trait, and hysteria points to it is a kind of neurosis which is predominantly belongs to soric miasmatic trait. Our impression on the basis of above, the Beraita carb is a mixed sorosyphilitic remedy with syphilitic preponderance. The characteristics of this drug, they include children, both physically and mentally weak, diseases of old man, swelling and indurations, offensive foot sweat, always cold and chilly, inability to swallow anything but liquids. Worse, general aggravation is While thinking of symptoms, from washing, lying on painful side, and emulsion is better by walking in open air. The posology, the doses, third to 30th potency and 30th potency to remove the predisposition to quinsy. Repetition, Berita is slow in action and bears the repetition well. Its duration of action is approximately 40 days. The relationship, it is complementary remedy. Its complementary remedies include Delcamara, Silesia and Sorinum. Remedies that precede well, they include antimonium tart, phosphorus, pulsatilla, rustox, sepia, silesia and sulfur. Remedies that follows well, they include arsenic album, silesia and sulfur. Anemical remedy is calcarea. Antidotal remedies include antimonium tart, belladonna, camphor, delca, myrrh and zinc. Let us go to the clinical aspect of this remedy. So we'll have certain symptoms which we'll take up from Allen's keynote, and Allen writes a very peculiar symptom is memory deficit, forgetful, inattentive. Child cannot be taught for it cannot remember. Threatened idiocy. So our clinical correlation is we have to correlate this drug. Very prominent condition is ADHD. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a disorder marked by inattention, hyperactivity and impulsivity. So please remember there are three components of hyperactivity: inattention and impulsivity in attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And that interferes with the functioning of development. But here the component which is very predominant associated with a Berita carb is inattention. So inattentive ADHD, there has to be 6 out of 9 symptoms in order to diagnose the condition, and that is daydream, becomes easily distracted, makes careless mistakes on homework and tests, difficult staying focused, has trouble getting organized, doesn't seem to listen when spoken to, avoids tasks which require a lot of focus or attention, often loses track of things, forgetful in day-to-day activities, has trouble following instructions and often shifts from one task to another without finishing any. Another important symptom is child or children both physically and mentally weak, dwarfish. So there is clinical correlation is there is a delayed milestone. The condition of a child being less developed mentally or physically then is normal for his age. The first 3 years of child's life is very, very important from the developmental perspective. And what happens during these years, that is going to stay with the child for whole of his life. Therefore, it is important for signs of delay in development, you need to watch them and get help if you suspect some serious problem. Child both physically and mentally weak. So let us go for clinical correlation. Delayed milestone was there. Examples of developmental disability include autism, behavior disorders, brain injury, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, fetal alcohol syndrome, intellectual disability and hypothyroidism. These are the area which needs to be discriminated and resolved appropriately. Another PQR is hysterical females or women and old maids with scanty menses, deficient heat, always cold and chilly. Clinical correlation. This is a dissociative disorder or somatoform disorder by the current considerations. Hysteria, if you correlate with the modern psychotherapy or psychology or psychiatry, you will find hysteria may not be a very valid psychiatric diagnosis from today's perspective. The DSM-4, it was given hysteria the status of dissociative disorder and somatoform disorder. But now we have the DSM-5, and according to the DSM-5, what symptoms we read in our Materia Medica, which have been labeled as hysteria, which is a broad umbrella term, is included in somatoform or somatic symptom disorder. Persons subject to quinsy is one another important feature given in Allen's. Takes cold easily, or with even the least cold have an attack of tonsillitis. They are prone to suppuration and inability to swallow anything but liquid. So this dysphagia for solids is much more marked in cases of tonsillitis. It is nothing to do with some degenerative disorders like motor neuron disease or something. So recurrent tonsillitis, we have to understand what is the definition of recurrent tonsillitis. When tonsils become infected, which could be bacteria or viruses, and the frequency is more than 7 episodes in 1 year or more than 5 episodes a year during 2 years period, and quinsy is a complication of tonsillitis, which is peritonsillar abscess. It is a very severe form and it requires surgically, it needs to be drained, but at times it ruptures on its own with these medicines like Beretta-Carb. And another important remedy for quinsy or peritonsillar abscess is Merck Dulcus. We have one more important symptom in Beretta carbonica, hemorrhoids which protrude each time he urinates. So clinical correlation is, according to the classification of hemorrhoid stages, it is a second grade hemorrhoids, and the hemorrhoids protrude from the anal verge while straining for bowel movement or passing flatus or urinating, but spontaneously returns to their original internal position once the staining has been subsided. In case of Beretta-Carb, why they are predisposed to piles, the reason is a constipation, hard knotty stool, and BHP, benign prostatic hypertrophy, which requires staining while urination. Both the conditions predispose to formation of piles. Another clinical condition is scrofula. Dwarfish children who do not grow and having very big abdomen, swollen abdomen, frequent attacks of colic, face bloated, general emaciation. So this scrofula is nothing but it is a lymphadenitis because of tubercular infection. Whenever it occurs, there may be a low-grade fever. The very peculiar feature of this abscess is that it is a cold abscess. You will touch it, you will find there is no local heat, there is no local redness, there is no local tenderness, and once they rupture, they give cheesy material out which keeps on draining, and it is a caseous necrosis of the lymph gland, generally seen in cervical region. And whenever the patient who complains about big abdomen and tender abdomen and colic, you have to suspect that patient may not have simultaneously the Cox abdomen, tubercular enteritis, where ileum is the area where it is generally affected, and there can be intestinal obstruction, chronic subacute intestinal obstruction that needs to be ruled out if you have any abdominal symptoms where the child is having scrofula. BHP is another condition where Beta-carb is prescribed. It is a natural hypertrophy in old age of prostate. It is nothing to do with malignancy. And symptoms may include frequent urination, and there is a difficulty to initiate urination, weak stream, and at times there can be dribbling because of loss of bladder control. One more important condition what Ellens tells us is apoplectic tendency in old age. It is cerebrovascular accident which is more appropriately associated with a kind of hemorrhage. Apoplexy refers to stroke, and a stroke can be anything. Maybe hemorrhage, maybe embolus, maybe thrombosis, where neurological insult takes place. But it is more appropriate if you think about the cerebral hemorrhage. It comes suddenly, it has a catastrophic kind of a presentation, and patient, if it is severe, patient may become not only paralyzed but unconscious also. There can be incontinence. So in old age, why the people are prone to apoplexy? Because aging is a high risk factor for a stroke. Risk increases significantly after the age of 55, and aging is associated with atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is there, hypertension will follow. And in current lifestyle changes which we have been having, we find that physical inactivity, alcohol, smoking, obesity, diabetes, chronic stress, everything contributes towards the predisposition to develop hypertension. Especially stress, which increases cortisol level, that in turn leads to increase in blood cholesterol, and blood cholesterol leads to atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis leads to hypertension. Stroke is more common in men, especially in reference to female. Another PPR is loss of memory, mental weakness, irresolute, lost confidence in himself, and senile dementia. When we talk about senile dementia, it is an umbrella term which has got many diseases under this condition, but broadly characterized by decline in memory, language, problem solving, and other thinking skills that affect a person's ability to perform a day-to-day activities. Dementia denotes decline in brain function and occurs in Alzheimer's disease, vascular dementia, dementia with Lewy bodies, Parkinson's disease dementia, frontotemporal dementia, Huntington's disease dementia. However, when we talk about Beta-carb, we are more concerned with Alzheimer's dementia or vascular dementia in particular. The natural history of Alzheimer's disease is very long. Once the patient develops this problem initially, there is mild cognitive impairment, and this duration lasts about 7 years. You will never be able to understand that the patient is in the process of developing Alzheimer's disease. But then you need to be cautious whenever any elderly person comes who has got symptoms in terms of memory loss, forgetfulness. There is an organic basis, and the disease begins in the middle temporal lobe where our storehouse for the memory is present. So it is a very initial stage and we are going to overlook it. But when it becomes much more prominent, say for mild Alzheimer's disease, and its duration is about 2 years, it remains there for 2 years, and disease spreads to lateral temporal and parietal lobes. Now, from one area, it has involved two areas, the parietal lobe as well as temporal lobe, and the symptoms will increase, and you will find that the patient will have much more difficult problems. And then it goes to moderate dementia, which again has got duration of 2 years. Disease spreads to frontal lobe, and frontal lobe, this is the part where the judgment resides, and you cannot take your decision. There is a disorientation, and ultimately the terminal stage is severe Alzheimer's disease, which may last for 3 years duration. Occipital lobe also gets involved, and occipital lobe has got visual area, so we have visual problems also. Frontal lobe, intellectual problem, and orientation and poor discrimination of senses is in the mild Alzheimer's disease. So it is a terminal condition which has a very long span of time, which is gradually progressive and terminates. Maybe Beta-carb can help us in delaying certain processes, but then so far we do not know much about any medicine which has been very effective in such conditions. How to remember Beta-carb? We have mnemonics by 10 Ds. So D stands here for defective memory, D stands for deficient heat, D stands for difficult concentration, and D stands for delayed milestones. Again, D stands for dwarfishness, body and mind. D stands for again dysphagia, especially solids. D dreads strangers, shy and timid. D is disposed to quinsy, peritonsillar abscess and tonsillitis. D is diseases of glands like benign hypertrophy of prostate, like central nervous system, what we have already talked about, Alzheimer's disease, and CVS, we have atherosclerosis. D stand for diathesis, which we interpret as degenerative affections. Thank you very much for patient listening.